Hello everyone, my name is Aarti and you're watching HW News. After Alpha, Beta, Gamma and Delta, there is new variant of COVID-19 that has added to the worries around the COVID-19 pandemic. This variant of COVID-19 is called Omicron. Since past 2 weeks, the Omicron has emerged as the latest threat to the process of getting back to normalcy. In India as well, patients of Omicron variant have been traced. First two were found in Karnataka, following which patients were found in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Delhi, and also in Gujarat. Now, currently, the tally of Omicron infected patients stands at 23 in India. Several states have stepped up vaccination, surveillance, and containment measures as well. Airports are on alert too. A lot is being said about this virus, but much is still not known. So, today we are joined by none other than Dr. Sangram Patil. If you are a regular viewer of HW News, you have seen him, heard him throughout the pandemic, giving us a rational perspective on the pandemic. So let us talk to him about the Omicron variant of the virus and welcome him on the show. So my first question to you is, now there is a lot of talk about the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus. What exactly is this Omicron variant and how much should we be worried about it?
Arti, Omicron is just another mutant variant of COVID-19 virus, original virus. We originally saw a wild Wuhan virus. And then after that, we have been getting this alpha, beta, these are just Greek labels named by WHO for the viruses who have got significant concern, either in terms of transmissibility or pathogenicity. There are other thousands of variants of coronaviruses which we are not worried about. We are not even looking into them. And virus mutates every day. Maybe within few hours there are new mutants coming up. So this is important and of concern mutant because it has got lots and lots of mutations, changes, more than 50 changes. And 10 of them are the changes which deal with the spike protein. And you might know that spike protein is the thing which is important in attaching the virus to the host cell when it enters the human body through the nose or through the throat. It attaches to the cells, and that's where the spike proteins come in action. And if they have changed significantly, that means it can have two things. It will either fix it to the host cell very tightly, it will have a very good combination, so it enters easily and makes infection very easy to take place. The second thing which can happen is it can escape the antibodies, the immune response of the host body, and it has already done that. It has shown that Omicron variant is easily spreading, and because it is easily attaching to the host cell, it is easily entering and infecting people. And people who have been infected in the past, they are also getting infected. People who have been vaccinated, fully vaccinated, they are also getting infected. So this change has made it possible for Omicron virus to spread fast and escape the immunity of previous infections and the vaccines as well. That is why it is of concern.
Okay. Doctor, as you rightly pointed out, that there were other versions, other variants of the COVID-19 as well, like there was alpha, beta, then there was a delta variant, which also created a lot of havoc in India as well. So there was a lot of concern about the delta variant as well. So how different this Omicron is from the original SARS-CoV-2 virus and the delta virus as well?
So this is actually too early to compare, to make direct one-to-one comparison. But what we know at the moment is there are mutations. Second thing is there is definitely a rise in transmissibility. So Delta variant was about 70%. Some people said it was 100% more transmissible than original Wuhan variant. Now this variant, the scientists are talking, it is 500 to 600 percent more transmissible than Delta variant. So in terms of transmissibility, it is superior to its previous counterparts. Now, second thing which we should be worried about is whether it is pathogenic to the same extent or it is less or more. Now, the initial reports from South Africa and the countries wherever it has spread now to significant level, the reports are encouraging. Now we know that it is not making people as seriously ill as Delta virus makes or it used to make in that society. So South African Medical Research Council releases data on various things related to COVID and other health issues. And there is a report of first 2 weeks of Omicron hospital patient admissions from Pretoria region, and the numbers are quite encouraging. They haven't got too many seriously ill patients. The ITU intensive care admissions are less. The people who are dying because of COVID, their numbers are less, significantly less in comparison to Delta or the prior variants. So, that is the initial comparison between the variants at the moment. We also know that Delta variant has got some immune escape, so Delta can infect people who have been vaccinated. But this variant, Omicron, has got a significant escape from immunity, so that it is infecting people who were previously infected, and it is infecting people who have been fully vaccinated. But in terms of severity, it looks much milder than Beta or Delta or Alpha variants.
Hmm. So you are saying that while it is more transmissible than the Delta variant or any other variant of the COVID-19 virus, it is, however, less severe in terms of severity, is what the initial understanding is. So you may see that there is a panic button pressed all across the country because of the Omicron virus. The government has indeed also pressed a panic button. Although the WHO is saying that there is no need to panic at the moment about the Omicron virus, but several countries, including India, have pressed the panic button. So, do you think that the threat of Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus is as big as the hype is?
Aarti, first of all, I fully agree with government's response this time, at least. Had they done this in the first wave, when the virus was coming to our country, entering our borders from Wuhan and from all over the Europe, we would have much better results in wave one as well as wave two. This time they have done it. If it turns out to be a false alarm, I would be glad. But I don't see much sense when people are bringing Omicron virus from other countries and you are letting them come in, and you don't even know what the status of Omicron is in terms of severity. We definitely know that it is transmissible more. It spreads easily like a flu virus. Now, there is some opinion coming from scientists that this variant of COVID might have actually taken up some genes from cold virus, the common cold virus like common cold coronavirus or flu virus. So that makes it more transmissible. And even if it turns out to be milder, if it spreads in Indian community, it will mean that it will generate more number of positive cases, more number of people will be sick, and significant proportion of that might need hospital admissions, and some of them will die. So we have to be very careful this time. Even if it turns out to be a false alarm, we have to respond to it seriously, because we haven't done that in the past on 2 occasions, and we have lost lots and lots of lives in India. That was unnecessary. So I agree with government response this time, but you can see government is raising this high alert alarm. They have warned state governments, but are they actually serious about it? Are they actually committed to this kind of severe situation from their side? That serious commitment needs from government side as well. On one side, they will keep telling the state governments that, oh, you should take these precautions, get ready for this, but they carry on with their election propaganda big events, inaugural events where they organize big rallies. That doesn't make sense. So I think it has to be, they have to act what they say.
So that actually brings me to the next question. We saw what happened during the second wave of the pandemic. What do you think are the mistakes and errors that we can avoid at this point of time?
Second wave of the pandemic was disastrous in India, and it has killed most people all over the world. The biggest number uh, of people died in India in the second wave, though our government hasn't reported majority of them. As per the international agencies, we have had at least 40 to 50 lakh people dying during that wave, and somewhat agree with those estimates. The mistakes done were that despite the fact that virus was still in the society, our government, the prime minister himself declared that we had won the war, whereas it wasn't true. We were warning, people were warning that second wave was coming because it was there in the European countries, America, everywhere. The world was seeing second wave, whereas our government was celebrating a victory. The same thing applies now. Though the government is saying, oh, third wave is coming, but actually they are not acting to get ready to tackle the third wave. And if it comes, then we'll be in a same situation. But this time we can be different in terms of vaccination. We have more vaccinated people now. In second wave, we didn't have vaccine available to that extent. Now we have at least 35% people who have received 2 doses of vaccine. We need to increase that number to 80% because we still got Delta variant prevalent. And we know that vaccine protects. Even if the variant changes, there is a protection. Even if it causes infection, the disease is milder. The initial South African data is also supporting use of vaccine. And there is expert opinion coming now, and they are recommending third dose to protect from Omicron variant. So we need to vaccinate people. Now, this time, there should be no politics involved, no blame game or taking the claiming that it is because of us or it's because of you. We shouldn't get involved in that kind of uh, politics and get ready properly. Second thing is the community transmission needs to be stopped, especially when few of the states are seeing elections now in coming months. We must stop community transmission here. Otherwise, it can be disastrous. Even if Omicron turns out to be a very milder version, it can still generate a very big number of patients. That means we will have some of them needing hospital beds and some of them dying. And in Indian scenario, that will mean it will be a big number. So that we need to tackle. And third thing is, because we have now some evidence about what works and what doesn't work in COVID. In second wave, we had remdesivir politics, despite the fact that everybody was saying remdesivir wasn't useful medicine. Still, every government, every state was making doing a politics on remdesivir. The central government was heavily involved in politicizing. Some of our MPs were getting remdesivir through some shortcut. It was being distributed by political parties. So we need to stop that. We need to respond more maturely as a nation, as a system, not as a party, and do evidence-based things. That these are the evidence-based approaches. These work and others don't work, and stop people from doing non-evidence-based treatments in private as well as in government setup. And there's a lot of WhatsApp and social media university stuff which comes up. Government should take a firm stand and release scientific information, guidelines, guidance from time to time this time, because we know a lot about COVID this time.
Doctor, you also spoke about the vaccines. As we all know, the Omicron evades the vaccine also. So, do you think there is a need for another booster dose of vaccines? We already have Covishield and Covaxin, and we are vaccinating a lot of people. We also had cases in Mumbai where people who came from US and South Africa, they were vaccinated with Pfizer 2 doses, but still they got infected with the Omicron virus. So, do you think there is a need of a third booster dose?
Yes, I definitely think I have been saying this for last few months now, that we will eventually need, if the waves keep coming up, there is no other option to protect. Vaccine is the only way to increase general immunity of the population. And now we are seeing in UK, in Israel, in America, everywhere, wherever third dose has been given, the population immunity has increased. After two doses, the immunity goes down to 50%, 60% level after 6 months. And if you top up with booster dose, third dose, then it goes back to 80 to 90% again. So you are more ready to deal with the new variants. And there is an expert opinion coming up now, and they say that even if Omicron variant has escaped from vaccine immunity or natural immunity, topping up with booster dose will make, will keep the population ready to deal with more safely. So I think Indian government should immediately announce third dose for healthcare staff and for high risk people in India, so rest of the population can wait for their turn, and this high risk people, they can get covered, so we will see less casualties, less sick patients, and that will help us to deal with the third wave if it comes in a significant amount.
One unique challenge that India faces at this moment is also about the kids, because a large section of the Indian children are still unvaccinated. How much they are at risk due to Omicron variant?
The initial data, Arti says, shows us that children are not at increased risk in comparison to adults or in comparison to previous variants. None of the variants have shown uh, children to be at a particular risk, nowhere in the world, except for a couple of isolated episodes where in Brazil and in Indonesia, there were more children dying, but nobody knows why it happened, whether it was purely because of COVID or there was something else going on at the same time. In general, including in India, none of the COVID variants have put children at risk. They haven't faced severe illness or increased death rate because of the COVID. So I don't think Omicron is going to put children at particular risk, but that doesn't mean we should not care about children. I think we need to start vaccinating children with whatever vaccine Indian government thinks is safe and effective for them, because countries like UK, US, Israel, and European countries now they are giving second dose to their children. Children above 5 years have been you know getting vaccinated here now in this country. So we need to start vaccinating our children as well. That will increase their protection level. That will reduce the transmission, which usually takes place through children and schools and colleges. So I think we need to start vaccinating children as well.
Okay, so my last question is, with the Omicron variant emerging, do you think that it is an indication that the virus will get milder, and it is an indication that we have to adopt to a lifestyle where we have to live with the virus now?
Yes, Arti, this is certainly a possibility. There is a German epidemiologist. I can't remember his name. It's a difficult name to pronounce. He said this Omicron variant could be a Christmas gift, and I agree with that opinion to a large extent. If you look at previous pandemics, how previous SARS pandemics and flu pandemics have ended, normally, usually, some variant arises which is excessively transmissible and it gives rise to mild form of illness. That is adjustment from virus side to be able to sustain in the society on a longer term, not generate, not incite a massive immune response from human host. And that's how that virus and the human immunity, they basically they harmonize with each other, and then the virus becomes endemic, and then it keeps coming as a seasonal epidemic almost every year all over the world. So if you look at Omicron, if it is causing milder illness, as the data from South Africa suggests, that might mean that it is being transmitted 5 to 6 times faster than the Delta virus, but the illness and death rate is significantly low. So if this continues, if we keep getting similar reports from all over the world about the behavior of Omicron variant, then that means this is a good news, and this Omicron will replace Delta all over as it has done in South Africa. So if it continues, if the data continues like this, then this is the beginning of end of pandemic.
Well, so that means that there is definitely a caution, but there is a silver lining to this dark cloud as well. Let us end this show on that note. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us.